Hello, and welcome to Waco ISD. I'm Larry Carpenter, Director of Fine Arts for the school district, and I am here today with Jasmine Gaither from University High School, and we are here to talk about some of the behind-the-scenes looks at University's recent production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, the musical. And now, Jasmine, tell us a little bit about the character that you played in Cinderella.
Well, I was Joy, an evil stepsister, and after the show I got many comments saying I didn't have to do much acting, but I don't know about all of that. I just had to antagonize her, and she was like part of the comic relief of the show.
So tell us a little bit about your audition process. How did you wind up getting the character of Joy?
Well, first we had to choose a song. Of course, I chose the Stepsisters' Lament because Joy is one of the people who sings that. Our choir teacher, Miss Murphy, she taught us the tones and the pitch to sing, and we just went and auditioned for that part. And then Mr. Price, he taught us, we did like a cold read, so we just went random pages in the script and just read and tried our best. Hopefully we got the part we wanted.
Excellent. Now, you were on stage, you were an actor on stage, but tell us a little bit about some of the behind the scenes. Did you have any opportunity to work on the set and things?
Unfortunately, I had plenty of time to work on the set. We built ramps and trees and lots of stuff, stairs. But yeah, it was fun, and it was hard work screwing and painting, and yeah, I'm not really that good at it.
You prefer being on the stage instead of behind the set.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, tell us a little bit about what was your favorite moment from the show?
My favorite moment would have to be the Stepsisters' Lament. Of course, I might be a little biased, but I just love that because I feel like I just got to fully embody just being evil at that part, you know? Just
Excellent. Well, on that note, let's take a look at the Stepsisters' Lament.
I'm younger and more appealing.
Oldest marries first.
That's an old wives' tale.
Why do you think there's so many old wives running around?
Girls! Don't start. Mother, Cinderella simply refuses to close that door. But I just hold your tongue and do as you're told. Now, once and for all, Cinderella, close the door.
Have you ever seen a lazier girl in your life?
Who you calling lazy?
You want a piece of me?
Enough! Sit! We need to talk.
And now we're here with Diana Hinojosa, also a senior from University High School. And Diana had the privilege of being Cinderella in the production of Cinderella. So tell us a little bit about that process. How did you come about being Cinderella?
Well, we had to do, of course, the first audition, which we sang, and then we got called back and we did the acting process.
So I understand you're really more of a choir student than a theater student. Yeah. How did that work in that process? What was most, I guess, nerve-wracking to you in that process?
I never acted before, so that was just scary, thinking that I'm the main part, I have to act. That was scary, but I think I did good. And Mr. Price helped me a lot with trying to act and knowing what to do and how to be better.
How challenging was the role vocally for you?
Well, I already knew most of the songs because I loved the Brandy version because I grew up with Cinderella. And the last night I was already vocally tired, but I love singing, so I made it work. And
very good. So tell us, what was your favorite moment in the show?
Oh, well, being with all the cast every day. And talking to them. I miss them so much, but that was my favorite moment. And then the scene is working with the stepsisters.
Working with the stepsisters. Like, you had several scenes with the stepsisters, so what was one of, I guess, your more favorite or fun stepsister moments?
The last scene where we sang Lovely Night. Lovely Night. Go driving through the moonlight. That was my favorite song and favorite scene working with them.
Excellent. Well, on that note, then, let's take a look at Lovely Night from University's production of Cinderella.
But when the king got up and led the orchestra with the local French band, laugh, I thought I'd die.
Your life?
Did you get to dance with the prince?
Yeah, for like an hour.
An hour?
I did if you did.
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the prince chose one of my daughters for his bride.
It almost sounds too good to be true. Did you know everyone?
Oh, everyone who's anyone.
Except for some princess something or other who arrived late in night early.
A princess? Did she dance with the prince?
I didn't notice.
Do you think you liked her?
What's with all these questions?
Really, I feel positively interrogated.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to imagine how it would have been. When you're driving through the moonlight on the highway, when you're driving through the moonlight to the dance, you're breathless with the anticipation of adventure and excitement and romance. Then at last you see the towers of the palace.
into another, and I do not suffer fools gladly.
And now up we have senior Denasia McCrary, who's here with us, also part of the cast of Cinderella. And tell us a little bit about the character that you played.
For the show, I was the evil stepmother, and it was a process of going through the entire thing and finding a character to be, because it was really hard to be mean to my friend. But in the end, it was all about the energy we had, I guess.
What's interesting or exciting about playing a bad guy or a bad character or evil character?
Because finally you can be like evil or bad on stage or whatever, and people actually like you for it. Like, they're expecting it, and if you don't show them evil enough, they don't like you. So it pushes your envelope.
Yeah, that's a very interesting perspective. Very good. Tell us a little bit about your audition process. What did you have to go through to get the role?
We had to show up after school in this auditorium. We had to sing on stage in front of everyone who wanted to, of course, audition for as well. And from that, we were selected for a callback list. It was posted, and from the callback list, we had a read-through to see who our directors liked saying the lines or who they liked, acting-wise.
Excellent. Well, I know you've done some shows here at University before. Was this your first musical?
No, sir. 2 years ago, my sophomore year, I was in the show Little Shop. I was stage manager though, so this is my first
time on
acting.
stage.
Yeah.
In a musical.
In a musical.
Wow. I know you have a lot of other experiences behind you, and I know you did some auditions in the fall. Are you thinking about possibly pursuing theater down the line for college, or?
Oh, yes, sir. Of course. I was just recently awarded a scholarship for theater for a college in Arkansas.
Awesome. Wonderful. Congratulations to you. Now tell me, you've had a lot of experiences, and as a senior, you've been in a lot of shows, but in this particular production of Cinderella, what would you say, your favorite moment or your most outstanding moment that you enjoyed the most?
The outstanding moment is when the entire show pulled together and we all felt connected, and there was like that family, that family ties, that we all depended on each other. When something went wrong, we were all there for each other, and it just felt really great to be backstage knowing every person back there had your back no matter what.
So part of that is bringing of that coach out and having that very nice, exciting thing arrive that was supposed to have been a pumpkin at one point in time. Did you have any part in helping bring that out, or were there other aspects backstage that you were involved in?
I was changing at the time into my next outfit when that was brought out. So, yeah, we were definitely in the dressing room getting changed as fast as we possibly could to come back out after this scene, the carriage scene.
Carriage scene. Well, scenes that you were involved in, what scene would you say was your favorite?
My favorite has to be the lovely night scene after the ball when we were all singing, and it was a time period of we were all a family, including Cinderella. So that was one of my favorite moments.
Cool. What about at the ball itself when your character was flirting, we shall say, with the prince, the steward for the prince? Tell us a little bit about that.
I thought it's just ironic because I see him as like a family, like my brother, my little brother at that. But at that moment, I knew that it was going to be hilarious for everyone who knew us and didn't know us. So it was interesting to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for speaking with us today. And we're going to take a look at some of those favorite moments.
Naturally, it's every mother's dream to see her daughter dance with the prince. But what I want to know is, who has the pleasure of dancing with a student?
Students don't dance.
There's no need to be coy. You have that look in your eyes and say,
Please don't touch.
let's not pretend now. I can sense there's a certain something.
I wish there was something between us, a continent. Excuse me, but why are you laughing?
Your highness is so witty.
But I haven't said anything.
When a girl marries a prince, that makes her a royal princess, yes?
Yeah.
Which would make her mother a royal.
Good evening.
Hi there. Ships that pass in the night and speak and pass on the ocean of light.
Excuse me?
That's poetry.
But why are you scratching yourself? Do you have a rash?
Why did you ask?
Because you're scratching yourself.
Now that we've seen some from the students who were involved in Cinderella, let's talk to some of the adults. I'm here now with Katie Davis. She is the technical director for Cinderella and assistant director here at University High. Katie, tell us a little bit about your technical design vision for Cinderella.
Well, Cinderella being a fairy tale, we obviously got to go a little fanciful, and we were very excited about that, but I tend to like the darker, more like Grimm's fairy tale kind of thing. And so my goal, I wanted to create a world that had those fairy tale elements, but like the skeletal trees. Like Tim Burton was a big influence on my design ideas, and had the skeletal trees in the back with this beautiful enchanted tree in the front, because the claustrophobic nature of those skeletal trees surrounding the manor house and surrounding these set pieces where Cinderella is purposefully unhappy and supposed to be kind of claustrophobic and suffocated, that it forces her downstage to that enchanted tree where it's supposed to serve as a refuge of sorts, and where she gets like this hopeful feeling. And so we wanted to have like most of our color scheme comes into play with the enchanted tree, and you'll see elements of it in the market and everything, but all of our big colors came in through the tree, and then we put them into the palace and the ballroom and all of that as well.
Wonderful. I know as technical director you had to lead a group of students. Tell us a little bit about some of the students that worked with you and their experiences, or your experiences working with them.
Most of them, I was really impressed. I was very happy with a lot of the work that came out of my classes, my tech classes, considering that this is the first time we've even offered anything like that, and how excited they all were to start working on a production like that. And then about a week into Tech Week of the production, we had to start assembling a running crew, and so I was able to pick a few choice students out of all my tech classes that were just excited, and that's a big part of it. You know, like if you have managed to listen to me and learn some stuff, I love that, obviously. But if you're just excited to be there and you want to be a part of the show, because the nature of theater is that you form a family. And even if you get thrown into it in the last week in Tech Week is so by nature so intense and so, overwrought that you are still become part of this big family. And I was really excited when I saw like my crew kids who aren't really theater kids by nature, and they don't do extracurricular activities or anything like that, all of a sudden they were like excited, and they are now going to be part of one act, and they are just feel like they finally have maybe a little bit of a outlet for their misfit kind of behavior.
So they really were able to take on ownership of
Yes.
running the show, if you will.
Yeah, it was great. And we had a few instances where we really needed them to step up, and they did. They just, like, it was just astounding. You know, they listened to direction, and they understood that if they weren't listening, then something calamitous could potentially happen, and they took that as adults.
Yeah.
You know, like they were little miniature adults on that stage, and it was really great.
So in a way, I mean, because I know that you came to us from a professional career, so in a way you're giving some of that professional experience to the students who could then possibly turn that into some careers. Tell us a little bit about your background and how that came, how you came to be here with us at university.
I got a technical theater degree at the University of Houston with an emphasis in stage management. And then I worked with some professional theater companies in Houston as freelance, stage managed some productions. And then after about 2 years doing that outside of the university, I moved to LA, where I tried to make the transition into film and television. And I worked there with a production company for about 5 years. And I worked on some small web series and things like that. Probably like the best moment as far as like very early this year in teaching was when I pulled up my IMDb profile for the kids, because they were like, wait, this is actually kind of serious. This person they aren't joking around. You can make a career out of this. So that was kind of a cool like impact that I had on them. I mean, it's not anywhere near impressive as actually somebody who's still out there working, but yeah, so then I came out here to teach because I always wanted to teach. I was always like the ultimate goal was to be a teacher and kind of carry the lessons I learned in the real world and apply them into a teaching atmosphere. Because I just feel like the fine arts in general, they are a great outlet. I mean, they can be, sometimes it's the only source that a kid has to kind of experience the world and all these different cultures, and it's just a great, I wanted to be a part of that and impart in them the importance of even television. It can have some important meaning. You know, it's not just silly little things that don't matter in the big grand scheme of things. Like everything reflects our culture on a larger scale, and I was excited to kind of come and teach that to the kids. And
that is awesome. Well, we are very fortunate to have you here, and I know as the technical director and the designer, there had to have been at least one challenging piece that really gave you fits. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you guys overcame, and what was that one piece you were really glad wound up working?
Two big ones immediately come to mind. First one's our runway that we had to build, or as Price and I like to call it, because one of our students came in one day and yelled at the top of her lungs, "What is this, a walk across?" So it became known between the two of us as a walk across. That was a big challenge because we'd never undertook anything quite like that before, and it needed, because beyond being something that's kind of cool to look at, like first and foremost, it had to be structured and could not be in any way a danger to our kids. And so we really went in and tried to piece that together and make that work. And during the process of building that, Mr. Brickhouse, who teaches special ed here at University High School, came along and offered some hints and tips, and ended up working really well with what we were trying to do. And then I went to go thank him and tell him, how incredible it was that he was there to help out. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I used to build houses." And so at that point, with that little tidbit, I was like, "So I have to build a staircase." So then he came on board, and without Mr. Brickhouse, we would not have had that staircase unit. And that was a really great reveal when we pushed that out, and Cinderella got to climb on up and come on down at the top of Act 2 and stuff. And that's where my kids ended up really one of the areas where they ended up really impressing me, because to a great extent, we got started on the staircase a little bit late, and I was kind of being torn in a whole bunch of different directions, and so I kind of had to rely on Mr. Brickhouse to really pull that together. And he was just like, these kids were coming in, and he was just like, okay, so I need this cut at this, and they just whipped it out. Like, it was amazing. And a few kids, Dustin Rodriguez, Angelo Castillo, Andrew Richardson, I mean, the three of them are like head carpenters in the whole program. They really pulled together and helped Mr. Brickhouse out in a big way.
And now we're here with Mr. Glenn Price. He is the head theater director here at University High School, and he was the head of all of this production of Cinderella. So, Mr. Price, tell us a little bit about your experiences with Cinderella and why it is that you guys chose Cinderella.
Cinderella was magical and beautiful. We chose to do Cinderella because we wanted to give the kids the experience of a classic show. We wanted to just have fun and not be stressed out, and just enjoy what we were making. And Rodgers and Hammerstein, the music and the story and all of that is just so wonderful and so timeless, and it allows everybody to be that kid again. So that's why we picked Cinderella.
It was definitely a very family-friendly and fun production. What would you say was the draw for a lot of kiddos to come out and audition for it?
It's just Cinderella. I mean, every kid knows it. I believe the original script, or the teleplay, was done in 1957. I want to say Julie Andrews, but it's timeless. And with the remake of them doing it in '97 with Brandy and Whitney Houston, and then another remake they did recently with Disney, everyone knew it. Everyone knows the story. Everyone knows the glass slipper. Everyone knows the pumpkin. Everyone knows the evil stepsisters. I mean, you just know the story.
So I know you had probably quite a few of your theater students involved, but this was a big production school-wide. Tell us a little bit about all the involvement from all the various departments.
This was a fine arts and more production. It was not just a theater and choir production. We had the fortunate pleasure of working with Guama, who made the carriage, the frame for the carriage. We had someone make, Katie's mom actually made the pumpkins that got picked up and brought on and brought off. We had art students come in and make sausages and cheese wheels and things, and we had a full orchestra with the band. Every single fine art and more was involved in this production, which was so amazing. We had over 100 students touch some parts of a stage or some piece, and it was just incredible to see everybody working on one show. It is the epitome of what fine arts is.
Very good. Excuse me, very good. You even had JROTC and culinary arts involved, if I'm not mistaken.
On Friday, the culinary arts have made this wonderful, wonderful entree of multiples of food. Me and Miss Shields actually sat down and did the menu, and I wanted it to be magical. So there were wands, and there was chocolate fountains, and there was just, there were cookies, and there were things that didn't look like what they were, and that was the magical part about it. I wanted this experience to be an experience, not just a show, and they accomplished that part. ROTC was wonderful. They came in, they ushered, they helped people find their way around the building. As you know, universities are really big, and so they were wonderful and polite, and they were just great to be ushers.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about the audience participation. This is a pretty big house you have here at University.
Yes, we have over 800 seats, and it was wonderful to see full houses most of the time. I think our smallest audience was Saturday, and it was still over 3/4 full. They laughed, they cheered, they applauded. One of my most favorite moments was when we had the transformation dress scene where the pumpkin goes out, the carriage comes on, and then Cinderella changes her dress on stage, and it was to hear the applause. Like, they were just so enthralled in the magic of the show that you could hear the excitement, you could feel the excitement. It was wonderful.
It was an excellent production, Mr. Price. And since he mentioned that transformation scene, why don't we take a look at that now as we close up our story on University High School's production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.